Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 2, House of Hypocrisy. We pick up right where we left off at the end of Episode 1. It was a to be continued. Jennifer is screaming at Margaret, who has just accused Bill of cheating with the office manager, and Jennifer's reply is, "It was the pharmaceutical rep. Get your facts straight." Which I kind of love that she owned it. Like, it shut Margaret up for a second, because I do not think Margaret was expecting that. She was expecting more, you're jealous of my life, my husband's great, all that. But in her confessional, Margaret said, Jennifer called out my mother for cheating. She called me out for cheating. But Bill's no different. True. But that's not Jennifer, right? So Margaret walks away and Jennifer tells Teresa it was a long time ago and she doesn't want to talk about it. Now the rest of the ladies are being filled in because they know something happened and they want to know what they missed. And Margaret's telling them all, I'm just sick of the hypocrisy. I said, just be honest. Margaret says she knew for years about the affair. We do get a flashback to a few seasons ago when Margaret did call him out. Do you remember when Bill was supposedly in the pool house with his fling? I don't know. Anyway, Margaret tells the ladies that she confronted Jennifer just now about Bill's affair and that she admitted it. Everyone's like, she admitted it? In Jackie's confessional, she said, I knew about the affair for months because Margaret told me, but I would never bring it up because I know how rumors of infidelity can hurt a couple, especially if they were, doing stuff. Meanwhile, Dolores is getting the scoop from Jennifer. The husbands are doing shots now. Joe Gorga says to them that he likes Bill, but that his wife runs her mouth too much. Now Bill walks over to where Jennifer and Dolores are standing, and, Jennifer's crying. She says she wants to go home. So those two leave. In Teresa's confessional, this is her take. She says, Margaret attacked me last year for saying a rumor about Jackie and Evan. Doing stuff. Like at the gym. Did you hear about Evan? And now Margaret just did the same thing at my party. So now Teresa and Gia go and sit down in the chairs by where the guys are. Joe Gorga, Louie, and some other guys there. Remember, Gia is pissed off at Uncle Joe for saying some not so nice things about Juicy Joe Giudice, the esteemed inventor of the dildo. Joe's like, why did Bill and Jennifer leave? Gia, because people say things they shouldn't say. And Joe goes, listen, I almost didn't come here today because I don't like being around people that are nasty. Well, it doesn't give you many options in this group. I'm just saying. So we see a post that Jennifer tweeted to Melissa, basically, calling her out on being boring for the last 11 years. And it's good. It goes a little something like this. Wow, you really are stupid. You only got on because of Teresa, and that kills you! Exclamation point, exclamation point. The audience has learned more about me and my vampire husband in 3 years than they have in your measly 11. Your fake baby and sister that never was. Yeah, that was lame. And I wanted her to have a sister so bad. That season needed some zip in it. The psychic told her she had a sister that nobody knew about from the time that her dad had an affair, and I was like, oh my God, please. Then we find out that there was this mysterious woman that showed up at her dad's funeral, and they all think it might have been this sister, and then nothing. Never spoken about again. That would have been good. And then it goes on about how she embarrassed her daughter. Yes, we all remember that scene. And that her family is crooked. Girl, bye. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That tweet was more entertaining than Melissa has been in 11 years. It kind of had it all. So now Joe looks at Louie and says, you don't like anybody putting things out about you, right? Thank you. Are we going to address the video? And Louie goes, yeah, 'cause it's personal. Side note, why does Louis always look like he's trying to solve a riddle? Between that and Teresa hanging her mouth open, I mean, the two of them are perpetually confused. Anyway, so Gia has not stopped staring at Joe Gorga with this like smirky sneer on her face the whole time he's talking. Then Gia goes, people get hurt and offended, which is why people shouldn't open their mouth in the first place. Okay. So cryptic. People get hurt and offended. Then she says the most daughter with blinders on thing that she has ever said before. My dad didn't deserve it either. Oh, sweetie. Anyway, so Joe goes, you want to say something? Say it. And Gia's like, I'm not going to say it if you're going to be disrespectful. And then like they kind of get into it a little bit. And she said, and don't talk down to me either. And he's like, that's it. He gets up, walks away. He says, I would never let my kids speak to you that way, to Teresa. And then he's like, where were you raised? Right there, Joe, on Bravo, with the inventor of the dildo as her father and Teresa as her mother. She turned out better than any of us could have hoped for, given her circumstances. Anyway, he's like, I loved you since the day I laid eyes on you. And then he leaves and she goes, okay, walk away. I haven't seen you in 6 months. Joe's like, Melissa, I'm leaving. And Melissa's like, what happened? So she goes over to Gia to find out what happened. Side note, it's dark out now. When he started walking away, wasn't it light? I mean, how far away was his car? Anyway, Melissa asks Gia what happened, and Louis, sorry if you guys can hear this, but the next door neighbors just decided to mow their lawn right now, and, things happen. All right, so then Louis says to Teresa, I'm going to go after Joe, and she's like, yeah, okay. So Melissa tells Gia, he can't even believe that you are giving him attitude. Like, he's in shock. And then Gia kind of rolls her eyes and smiles. And Melissa goes, if you're laughing at your uncle crying about you, that's not good. And Gia's like, I'm not laughing it off. And you're going to get me aggravated right now. And Melissa goes, aggravated about what? Meanwhile, Joe is out in front of the house talking to the guys. And he goes, she looks at me like I'm the devil. Your father was the devil, not me. Guys, I mean, it's a sticky situation. I feel bad all the way around. So Melissa's trying to explain to Gia that, he loves you like he loves Antonia. He knows your dad comes first, but he doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like, kind of. So Gia says, I'll go talk to him. So she goes out in front. Melissa and Teresa follow her. Gia's like, guys, I don't need an entourage. And Joe is too hot right now to calm down and talk to Gia or listen to what she has to say. He just hated Joe Giudice with the intensity of 1,000 white-hot suns. I mean, as we know, the whole reason that Gia is mad at him is for what he said last year when he was screaming at Teresa and saying that basically Joe killed our mother. I mean, he blames Joe Giudice for everything bad that has happened to his sister and his parents for the past 20 years. Gia gets choked up when he mentions her grandparents and said, you know what? That is when I walk away. And she does. And now hot pool guy Tony is trying to tell him, she's young and sensitive. Why do you have to say that? And I get it. This is why I say this is a very sticky situation, because I understand Joe hating Joe Giudice and thinking that all the aggravation and putting their daughter in jail and everything had taken a toll on his parents, his mother, and she had ill health to begin with and all that. And I understand why he says that and why he thinks that. But you cannot tell the girls that their dad killed their grandparents. You cannot assign that blame directly to him like that, not in front of the girls. Anyway, Melissa goes after Gia again. They kind of realize they're going to have to agree to disagree. And Gia says, I'm going to go back one more time and talk to him. And Gia says, listen, I understand if you want to be mad that he put my mom in jail. That's one thing, but you can't say what you did about my grandparents. And don't you think he's mad at himself? He lives with it every day. He can't even be in this country. But, it gets to the point where the bashing is too much. And then she says, I never want to go like 6 months without seeing you again. That's insane. So then he's like, come here, bring it in. And they hug. Teresa, I'm so happy. Okay. Next, we are at Olivia's pool party. That backyard does look like a resort. It looks like a hotel pool. It's huge. And there's a lifeguard, which I'm joking about, but also I think it's a great idea. Because none of these adults are watching the kids. Anyway, Jennifer tells us that she didn't get any sleep last night after Teresa's pool party. And Bill is just hiding upstairs because he's so embarrassed. And he's nocturnal. So Teresa arrives and she's like, where's Olivia? Olivia, where's Olivia? She is adamant about finding Olivia among all these children. I want to see her. So finally, Olivia comes out of the pool and she hugs her and she goes, happy birthday. Olivia doesn't say anything. And then Jennifer explains that, well, it's really more of an end of the school year party because Olivia's birthday's in January. And she never gets to have a pool party. Okay. But the funny thing is, like, Teresa's like, oh, okay. She is so confused. Dolores is there now, too. And then the three of them go inside to chat. Dolores, listen, you held your own last night. I mean, she got hit with a bomb. Teresa, listen, here's my thing. Why was it said at my party? Should it have been said at Olivia's pool party? That's more Teresa's style. Did you hear about Olivia? Like, she was like, doing stuff. Yeah. Her style is, let's wait until it's the birthday party for the person that I'm going to spread the rumor about. In Teresa's confessional, the producer asked her if now she could see the reason why she was wrong for bringing that rumor up at Evan's birthday party. Yeah, just to end the suspense for you, she doesn't think it was wrong. She said, well, what I said was a rumor. I didn't say it was true. And that makes it better. How? Oh, God. Anyway, so now Teresa wants the details from Jennifer on camera. After Jennifer told her the day before, it was 10 years ago, I don't want to talk about it. Teresa, I'm just curious. So, like, how did it happen? Were you guys having problems? Jennifer says, I was pregnant. And we had just moved to Jersey. It was my fourth kid. Bill wasn't around a lot. He was working all the time. He was making money and, really kind of feeling himself. Dolores, so how did you find out? Jennifer, credit card receipt. They went to a club, had bottle service, and then I saw a text message on his phone. I confronted him, and he admitted it. So literally the next day, she gave birth to Christian. Then they talk about Margaret bringing it up at Teresa's party and how Jennifer doesn't owe anyone an explanation. Except them, I guess. On camera. I'm just curious. Give me all the details right now while we're being filmed. I mean, come on. Okay, next we are at Jackie's house. She's having a barbecue with her family. Her mom, her dad, and her brother are coming over to see the kids for the last time before they go away to camp for 2 weeks. Now we're shopping with Margaret and Dolores at a furniture store because, Dolores needs to furnish her new house. Either that or her new townhouse. I don't know. Unclear. So, of course, they sit down on one of the couches to have a conversation. I have never done that in a furniture store. But, hey, maybe I should recap the next episode in a Rooms for Less. I don't know. Dolores says to Margaret, I don't think it was right that you brought that up, that whole Bill thing, because he had to get dragged through the mud, It was like a casualty of war. What? He created that mud. He's the one that cheated. He did something wrong, and then he put his home life on camera for all of us to see. Sorry. I don't feel sorry for you. I mean, we could all make hundreds of thousands of dollars if we put our lives on camera, but we don't. Because we'd have to put our lives on camera. The only thing that surprises me is that there are some people who still think that they can be on a reality show and maintain some secrets. I'm looking at you, Tiki Barber. So, Dolores tells Margaret she doesn't think what she did was right. And Margaret said, she pushed me to the nth degree. What was I supposed to do when someone's such a hypocrite? Cut to Jennifer's house now. Jackie's coming over. She walks in. Oh, hi, the furniture looks so good. Time out. What is going on with the furniture? There are tags on it. And the lampshade is still encased in plastic. Did Jennifer turn her foyer into a Walter E. Smith for extra money? I don't get it. Are we going to see Margaret and Dolores sitting in a corner at Jennifer's house? Is that where they're shopping? So Jennifer tells us that she feels like she needed to have Jackie over, because they made up at Teresa's party. Plus, Jennifer thinks that Jackie and Evan went through something similar last year, and maybe she can shed some light on the subject. Okay, you do know it's not the same thing, right? Jackie ends up actually telling Jennifer that she knew about Bill cheating because Margaret had told her a few months ago. And she's like, but I didn't say anything. I wouldn't say anything because I would never want to hurt another woman. And Jennifer goes, yeah, I mean, if anyone can relate. And Jackie's like, well, hold on. I can't really relate because Evan didn't actually cheat on me. It was just a rumor. And you told me that you didn't believe the rumor. And Jennifer goes, no, I don't. And I don't want to do anything to hurt you. I mean, that was last year. I just wanted to hurt you last year, but not this year. So back at the other furniture store, Margaret says, Jennifer attacked me for cheating, insulted my mother, tried to drag my dear friend Jackie through the mud, calling up your ex-husband, Frank, trying to shake him down, thinking he knew about the affair. Then we see a clip of Margaret talking to Frank saying, Jennifer called you too, and he said, yeah, she called me up. Margaret says, you and I both know that Jennifer was going around trying to dig up dirt on Evan. But I never told Jackie because she would go crazy. Then I found out that Jennifer called our mutual friends in Tenafly, saying, you know that Jimmy goes to, where he does stuff. Dolores, no. What was she going to do with that information? Margaret, she just wanted to see somebody else suffer. Dolores, that really bothers me. Meanwhile, back at Jennifer Furniture, Jackie says that if they're going to really be good friends with each other and good with each other, she wants to know that there isn't going to be any more sneaky, trying to destroy each other stuff. Yeah, because, when you agree to be friends with someone, you do want to kind of curtail the trying to destroy each other. Like, let's not do that as much. Jennifer's like, well, I can't promise that. No. She said, of course, I don't want to do that. Jackie says, I don't like attacking other women. And Jennifer said, well, what about Margaret? She attacked me. And Jackie goes, I don't really have a problem with what Margaret did. But she's right, because she goes, because you have said many times how terrible you think she is for cheating on her husband. Side note, it is awful. And what Bill did is also awful. Even worse, because Jennifer was 9 months pregnant at the time. I just feel like there's a special place in hell for husbands that cheat on a pregnant wife. I mean, they're growing a human being that is half you. So, a little respect. Anyway, Jennifer says to Jackie, well, Teresa thought it was wrong what Margaret did. Oh, well then. Anyway, she said, and Dolores thought it was wrong what Margaret did. Anyway, Jackie just ends up saying, you guys have hurt each other, and I feel like you both have a reason to feel the way you do right now. Cut back to Margaret and Dolores. Margaret, do you think I was wrong? And Dolores goes, now I don't. So the next party is going to be at Dolores's. She's inviting everyone over to her townhouse for a little, housewarming, I guess. Margaret's like, okay, who's coming? And she said, I'm inviting everybody. And Margaret said, okay, that's fine. I can coexist with Jennifer. And then back at Jennifer's house, she is telling Jackie that she's really just kind of processing this right now. Again, the affair that Bill had. Because, first time around, 10 years ago, she never told anyone. Not her sister, not her best friend, no one. She says it's not her skeleton. It's her vampires. And that's why she kept it a secret. And to protect her children, which that I get. I don't think I would protect Bill. But yes, if we had children together, I get that. But then you go on a reality TV show. So had me lost me. Jackie says she does feel bad for Jennifer. In her confessional, she said, I went through this with the rumor that Teresa spread last year, but at least at the end of that, I got to tell my children it wasn't true. You know who I'm worried about? Gabby. I haven't seen her yet this season, but oh, that kid kills me because she's smart and sensitive and, she's a teenager. It just, I almost... As much as I love her, I almost hope that she's not on at all this year because, I don't know, the kids need some privacy. Okay, now we are at the townhouse for Dolores's party. Margaret gets there first and she tells Dolores that she talked to Jackie, and Jackie said that she went over to Jennifer's house to have a talk and that Jackie feels sorry for Jennifer. Then the others start getting there. Tracy's invited. Melissa, Jackie, and then there's this new girl, Caroline Manzo. No. Caroline, they just said she's a friend of Dolores's, so I don't know if she's gonna be, if we're trying out some new people. I don't know. So this townhouse, Dolores explains that because her home is still not finished being renovated, and because Frank is, dragging his feet, that she is now renting a townhouse for herself. It's the first time she's living alone. And the ladies ask her if David minds that she, bought this place. She didn't buy it. I guess she's renting it. If, why isn't she just staying with David? I guess they're teasing her this feels like this is your bachelorette pad, does David mind? And she said, I haven't seen much of David lately. So everyone's like, interesting. Everyone is there now except for Jennifer and Teresa. Margaret says, I think Teresa might be a little bit mad at me because I said Louis needs to address that video. Oh my God, thank you. I was afraid we were just going to drop the whole video thing. That thing was weird and we need to discuss it. I still haven't seen it, by the way. Let me know in the comments if any of you have watched Louis dragged naked through the sand on the beach with naked guys behind him. Let me know if you saw it, if you watched the whole thing. Is it weird? What? I mean, I know it's weird, but what was your thought? Anyway, like I said, I'm just glad that it got brought up again because, not that Louis' video is worse than Bill cheating. It isn't, but it's a lot more interesting, right? Anyway, Melissa said, I don't think that video bothers Teresa at all. Tracy, not addressing the elephant in the room, though, it doesn't do him any favors. Now, guys, this next part, I had to turn on the closed captioning and go through it a couple of times because it was dangerously close to not being family friendly, let's say. Dolores says, in that video, a bunch of naked guys stand behind you and they bond together like jerk-offs. Then Margaret said, no, they beat each other up. In her confessional, Margaret said, I Googled Louis' self-improvement retreat. You go there and they break you down. She said it was so they don't have hostile behavior toward their women. Yikes. I don't know that I want a guy that has to go to a retreat so that he doesn't act hostile toward me. Anyway, side note, who's this lady in the back? When did she slip in? I didn't see her title card. All right, anyway, while they're talking, Jennifer walks in. Jackie says to Margaret, who's standing right next to her, listen, my loyalty is with you, but Jennifer is in a very vulnerable place right now. Margaret says, I'll talk to her if she wants. But she's not going to push anything, but she does feel bad for her. Well, I guess Jennifer feels so awkward walking in. And, Teresa's not there. That's her ally. So she gets a little shaky, like her chin is quivering, like she's going to cry. Jackie takes her hand and sits her down on the couch. And Dolores comes over and, basically tells her to buck up. Jennifer, this isn't like you. You're fine. Jeez, okay, Sarge. In her confessional, Dolores said, I'll tell you right now why I'm aggravated at her. Because she goes around how happy she is. She comes after this one. She knocks that one down. Anyway, Jennifer tells Dolores that she's just a little overwhelmed. And Dolores is like, I know, but you can handle it. Pull yourself together. So now Margaret comes over to sit down with Jennifer. And Jackie's like, everyone, come on, let's leave them alone to talk. And Margaret says, I don't want to fight with you, but you've been very hypocritical. And Jennifer said, but everything that I've been vocal about is something that you've already shared. You've been very open about it. That's why I never talked about Bill's affair. Time out. Okay, so because Margaret is honest about things that she's done in her life that she's not proud of, and I guess opened herself up for judgment by others, doesn't mean that you, of all people, Jennifer, needs to be so outwardly opinionated. Unless I was ready for my story to come out, I don't think I would have said anything. Anyway, now Margaret is throwing the, you were digging up dirt about Evan at her. And, Jackie is not far, she's not like out of earshot. So she can hear that, Jennifer is coming clean about calling Serena in Tenafly. And that's when Frank had dinner with Bill, and Frank told Bill that he knew the girl that Evan was with and that he knew what she looked like. So Jennifer is admitting to wanting to hear the dirt now. And she goes, it was just, I was being nosy. Jackie doesn't want to bring Evan's name up again at all. After Jennifer said she was being nosy, Jackie's like, but Jennifer, you were looking into my husband when your husband did stuff, but not at, the gym. Jennifer said, it was 10 years ago. And Margaret goes, you judged me for something that was 30 years ago. Side note, this right here, these are the faces of two women who are rethinking their choices to appear on Housewives. Maybe I don't want to be on this show. Everyone's being pretty empathetic toward Jennifer, except Dolores. Damn. She likes some tough love. Don't cry, because there's no reason to. And Jennifer goes, you think I'm weak for crying? I'm brave for crying. Well, they all decide to take a break from that conversation and go eat. And now Teresa arrives. So she's kind of like, oh, what did I miss? Oh, nothing. Dolores takes her into the corner and kind of fills her in on everything that was said before she got there. She tells her that Jen started crying and that Margaret asked her what she was crying for. Teresa, what is she crying for? She's hurt. Yeah, and Dolores, are you leaving out the way you reacted to Jennifer when she was crying? Because you were a lot harsher than Margaret. Anyway, Dolores tells Teresa that Jennifer was digging up dirt on Evan. Now, do you think Dolores thought that this was going to affect Teresa in any kind of way? Do you think that Dolores thought that it was going to make Teresa say, oh, yeah, that wasn't right? Because I know better, and I would think that Dolores should know better. Teresa just says, don't you think what Margaret did was wrong? It's crossing a line. A line that Teresa, by the way, is very familiar with, as she herself has crossed it many times. Anyway, Teresa says to Jennifer, Dolores filled me in. Are you okay? Jennifer's like, I'm just processing it all. Teresa, well, you go with Margaret? Keep in mind, the correct answer is no. Jennifer, we're working on it. Teresa wants conflict. So that wasn't good, that Jennifer and Margaret are actually working on getting back to being friends. So Teresa said, can I just say one thing, Margaret? Why was I such a bad person when I was telling you and Melissa and Dolores a rumor that I heard about Jackie? But then you come to my party and blast Jennifer. Jackie goes, well, she went right to Jennifer. You didn't come to me. Teresa, all I was trying to do was be a girl's girl. She is so twisted on that she thinks that going to other people and gossiping about a rumor is somehow being a girl's girl to Jackie, instead of quietly going to Jackie and saying, hey, heads up, this rumor's going around. I'm sure it's not true, but I just want you to be aware of it. Yeah. I don't think Teresa understands what girl's girl means. And Dolores' confessional, and by the way, this is why I like Dolores. She says, I know that rationale is not making sense to anyone, But to Teresa, it's logical. Anyway, Jennifer ends up leaving early again because she needs to just remove herself from the situation. We get this old flashback to Jennifer telling her mother that Bill is handsome and intelligent and respectful. My husband is the man of every woman's dreams. I mean, that right there, that's the thing. Like, I get wanting to hide it or not talk about it for the sake of your children or whatever, but I don't even think I could stomach going that far overboard, acting like my husband was so great after he cheated on me. I don't think I could do it. I think it's weird that she went that far overboard. I wonder if in some way she was trying to really make him feel bad in some weird way. I don't know. Anyway, the ladies, now that Jennifer's gone, the ladies kind of talk about her, and they talk about how she put out this perfect life to the world, perfect marriage, and that, now she has to deal with the fact that everybody knows that it wasn't. Side note, what keeps just kind of niggling at my brain though, guys? She didn't have to admit it on camera. We were all reminded in a flashback that Margaret brought up Bill's cheating rumors 2-3 years ago. And she definitely didn't admit it then. She went off on Margaret for that. So why now? I'm feeling like it's calculated somehow. Either the story was coming out somehow anyway and they're trying to get in front of it, or we are being manipulated into thinking that this is a real fight between her and Margaret and not their assignment for this season, maybe. It's just that, if she's such a mama bear protecting her cubs, she wouldn't allow herself to be provoked. I mean, what Margaret said, it could have easily been denied again. So it just seemed like she caved too easily. Margaret mentions it, and then she goes, it was the pharmaceutical rep, get your facts straight. Everyone was kind of shocked that she came out with it, I don't know. I think it's so horrible for the kids to hear it this way, but some part of me thinks it was planned. Anyway, guys, that is it for this episode. Again, thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this recap, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more like this, please subscribe to my channel, Jill Informed. That helps me a lot. Thank you. And I will see you next time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Bye.